10 years ago, there was a group of criminals in Japan who specialized in using guns to rob supermarkets. By the time the police received the news and rushed over, it was too late. A girl and 3 children were brutally murdered by them. The young police officer collapsed and tormented himself. If he had come sooner, they would not have had to end up like this. Moreover, that unfortunate girl is his lover. This tattooed man is named Sogek. For the past 10 years, he has silently become a hellish dog to avenge his girlfriend. Every time he sent an evil person from the past to the altar to see a naked chicken, he tattooed a spell on his hand to remind himself to live well. Today, Sogek went to the chicken and duck farm. Here's the last bastard you need to get rid of. He tried to use a shovel to sneak attack, but he quickly avoided it and threw a punch at him without missing a single shot. Then use a neck-breaking attack to help the opponent meet their ancestors soon. After dealing with the last guy, Sogek picked up the phone to call the police to clean up the scene. He also didn't want to live like this anymore, so he agreed to turn himself in. When the crime team heard the news, they immediately took the male lead to an abandoned factory to negotiate. The police chief came to offer to clear all Sogek's crimes and give him a new life. But in exchange, he has to work as an insider to infiltrate a Yakuza gang named Tosokai to help him destroy these gangsters. 4 years ago, the 5th-generation leader of Tosokai was suddenly assassinated, so an internal struggle broke out between the expelled family and the Kozu family. Although the Kanto family has up to 7,000 members, it is more peaceful and does not like killing. Because the fight was so fierce, the police were forced to support the Kozu family to become the 6th-generation leader. Then they opened a financial company in the shadow of the mafia to legalize business deals. But not long after, the 6th-generation leader was beheaded by the deporters until the grass grew green. So the Tosokai gang continued to elect the 7th-generation leader. However, this election had many surprises when the chosen people were not famous eaters in society, and that was the handsome secretary named Sataka. This guy continues to follow the Kozu family's policies such as supporting overseas expansion. He established many gangs abroad and traded drugs and banned goods such as ivory or rhino horn. The police chief wants Sugek to infiltrate the Sokai organization from these foreign gangs. The male lead intends to join the group led by the big brother Bon Lo. However, the police chief did not agree because he was wearing 2 simple pants and the compatibility between the two was less than 10%, so he proposed that Sogo join the gang managed by Chongeo in Bangkok. He had a sad past when his parents were murdered by cult leaders. This is the common point that helps Sogo win the opponent's sympathy. His case is to help Chongeo defeat the opposing gang and climb to a higher position in the Sokai organization. A year later, the male lead and Chongeo were brothers. The two were both friends and teachers and became the most famous pair in the gang. One day they received a mission to deal with the leader of the opposing gang. At this time, he was being lured by their insiders to an abandoned hotel to do business. Mad Dog 1 and Chongeo suddenly appeared and quickly slashed the leader's limbs. He was so scared that he fell to the ground and begged for his life. But the stupid dog showed no mercy and hit me to death. After completing the mission, Sogo called to report to Godfather Tokei, who was number 2 in the Sakoi Yakuza organization. Immediately, the Godfather was very happy and held a party to welcome his juniors. Even though there's still one more person who needs to be purged, let's have fun first and think later. At the end of the meal, the male main character and his godfather went to find the 3-headed monster to feed the birds. As for the goofy dog, he went to see an old friend from before. After a few greetings, they directly led each other home to exchange puzzles. On the other hand, Sogo went for a massage not just to relax, but because the massage therapist was an undercover police officer who specialized in receiving information from him. While happy, the Godfather called. He said he had important intelligence and wanted the male lead to come over there urgently. It turns out that Takai's lover, Kisa, has investigated the last enemy of the Tanaka organization. Tanaka is currently residing in Los Angeles, USA. He and the gangsters there colluded to do many illegal things. These guys have excellent killing skills and are not afraid of confrontation, so the Godfather wants hell dogs and wild dogs to protect leader Losataka, because the two of them are the best assassins under Tokei. Saugo seemed like he didn't want to take on these cases, while Kisa showed an extremely mysterious smile. Is there something between the two of you? Sure enough, after Saugo reported the case to the police chief, a strange woman suddenly appeared in his house. It turned out that it was Kisa. She took the initiative to take off her shirt and approach, but the male lead still refused. The next morning was the recruitment of bodyguards for the head of the organization to Sokai. The 4 selected top assassins will wear bulletproof vests and line up. As soon as the whistle sounded, Losataka immediately turned around and exploded, causing everyone to fall to the ground in pain. This is a test. If they are shot, what will they do to protect the leader? With their strong will, Saugo and the dog tried to rise up and defeat the remaining 2 people. They successfully became Losataka's official bodyguards and were taken to his office. While talking to the secretary, the 2 discovered that they were just a first-class employee. The leader also has another group of elite guards. Saugo and the crazy dog came here just to give that group of elites time to rest. And the 2 of you were not allowed to meet or interact with them. The dog doesn't obey when I'm just a reserve, but the secretary told him that the elite group only needed to look at their movements to know what gun their opponent was using. At this time, the signal light in the secretary's room lights up. This is the leader's way of calling people. After walking around for a while, they finally reached Losataka's room. When I first met Leader Sogo, I felt that he was completely different from what I imagined. Because Losataka is not the type of gangster who specializes in doing bad things or killing people for hire. Before that, a girl was set on fire and murdered by a bad guy, but the court did not sentence the perpetrator to death. This made Losataka extremely angry and sent his juniors to execute that bastard. Although he has supreme power, he is different from other Yakuza bosses. Losataka lives a very disciplined life. Every day, in addition to discussing normal business matters, he goes to the museum to look at works of art. The leader's villa always has at least 10 bodyguards on duty, and all women are prohibited from entering or leaving this place. This makes the dog suspect that the boss is a yin and yang person who only likes men. That night while meeting, the police chief told Sogo not to act hastily. What he heard from the driver might have been because Losataka was looking for new recruits. The cases he assigned to him were to find opportunities to assassinate the leader and take documents from his safe. Currently, the police do not arrest Losataka because he has evidence of the crimes of many high-ranking officials in his hands. If we touch him, those officials won't leave us alone. So this needs to be done in secret. At the same time, the police chief also took out an artificial finger and said that it had the leader's fingerprints on it. Meanwhile, in his shirt and girlfriend, he was gathering with the family members of the victims who had been harmed by that cult group. They created an association to help each other. Among them is a girl who is the child of the woman who was murdered by robbers in the incident 10 years ago. She told everyone that recently she always receives money from a mysterious person every month. One time that person even left a message that all the perpetrators had paid the price. After contacting the victims' families, they said they also encountered the same thing. So she guessed that the hidden person was the police officer of Sugo's old area. Most people do not believe this fictional-sounding story. But the angry dog predicted that the policeman had redeemed himself by taking care of all those bad people. On the other hand, the male lead was taking a walk to get some fresh air when he was recognized by a former colleague. She always called out to Sugo, causing many people to turn and look. But the male lead, after entering the gangster path, changed his name. So I couldn't stay here, so I quickly left. Unfortunately, this scene was witnessed by a reporter in the gang looking for girls. The next day Arosataka has a party with sexy girls. Because of the difficult economic situation, we had to move to Tokyo, Japan. At this time a girl stood up and offered the leader a drink, but was suddenly stopped by Sugo. He suspected that she was an assassin sent by Takaana, so he forced the other person to drink that glass of wine. Sure enough, she immediately appeared in her true form, holding a knife and attacking him. Even though she is brave and quite agile, the female assassin still cannot do anything against Sugo's absolute power. He wrestled her to the ground and punched her unconscious on a kumquat branch. So she was taken and forced to confess by Arasataka. This is the darkest place in the Tasaki organization, only senior members know this place. The female assassin was stripped of her clothes and hung upside down in front of the leader. But no matter how much she was tortured, she still refused to confess a word. So everyone wants to destroy the female assassin's spirit in the most cruel ways to see how long she can last. At this moment, Arasataka felt something unusual, so he went to check. This lady discovered that she had a rival gang's tracker on her. This temple is extremely dangerous because there are not many guards here. Calling 500 brothers to come would take at least an hour to show up. Meanwhile, Tanaka's assassins arrived at the door. Now we can only rely on 2 bodyguards, Sugu and Dog Gao, who teamed up to attack them. Every guy who comes in will be picked up on the altar to look at the naked chicken. Thanks to that, he successfully saved Arasataka's life. However, during the fight, the gang's secretary was shot dead by assassins. The next day, everyone held a funeral for Secretary Sega. At the same time, the leader and senior members also elected a new secretary